The year was 1976, and Macy's department store was hosting a Rocky Balboa contest. Contestants were invited to punch their way out of a paper bag in a small boxing ring set up between the escalators. My father took one look at the bag and the highly muscled men standing in line to try their luck, and then he told me he was entering me. What? I can't beat those grown men, Dad. Oh, yes, you absolutely can, he assured me. Then he whispered something. I knew I could do it. So I took my turn and punched my way out in less than 5 seconds and won. That's really what Women's History Month is all about. Empowering women to find the confidence they need to tap into their talents and gifts and then share them with the world. The United Nations Sustainable Development Goals include both gender equality and reducing all inequalities, which speaks to its value and importance to our continued existence. I tell my students during our Liberating Genius lessons that the world needs everyone's contributions, and we must celebrate and welcome them because each and every one of them, each and every one of you matters. My story in EdTech starts at Manteca Unified School District in California 20 years ago, when my superintendent appointed me to our Going Digital committee. I firmly believed in the power of and need to teach technology to our students in order to empower them. When my superintendent asked if I'd be interested in becoming a Microsoft Innovative Educator expert, I said yes. That opportunity led me to the life-changing E2 conference in Seattle in 2015. Where I met so many talented MIE experts from around the world with whom I've brainstormed and collaborated with on countless projects. I'm grateful to Microsoft for having me on their Hacking the Classroom in the fall of 2017, which opened even more doors for me as I started training and presenting across the country and around the world. I began creating global projects like Human Differences with Koen Timmers and Cultivate World Literacy with Julie Hembry. I was honored to be the closing keynote at the last in-person EdTech conference before COVID, NCCE 2020, in which my message to educators before we had to close our classroom doors was, don't be afraid. What more could we do if we were fearless? Turns out, we were capable of doing quite a lot. Since March of 2020, I've trained more than 10,000 educators in educational technology, including those educators I met while on my Fulbright Teachers for Global Classroom Fellowship in India. And now, as a Fulbright Alumni Ambassador, I continue to share stories and ideas with my fellow educators, hoping to empower them to reach out to each other so we can do more for our students. It's all about empowering our students. And so, during this Women's History Month, you can empower your students using some of these resources. The United Nations has a wonderful online exhibit called I Lead by Example, I Am Generation Equality, and it tells the stories of women who are not waiting for the doors to open, but who know they have the right to lead and participate, and they don't hesitate to open those doors for themselves. There are incredible digital classroom resources on the National Women's History Museum website, as well as on the Learning for Justice website from the Southern Poverty Law Center. And the Smithsonian's National Museum of American History has an excellent digital companion website for its exhibit called Girlhood, It's Complicated. This celebrates that girls have spoken up, challenged expectations, and been on the front lines of social change. Because, as Toni Morrison reminds us, if there's a book that you want to read, but it hasn't been written yet, you must be the one to write it. And what, you ask, did my father whisper to me back in 1976? Well, he told me that I had a large wingspan, which would allow me to break through the bag by just spreading my arms out wide and punching to the sides. Like my father, let's help our students find their hidden strengths and gifts, their talent, their genius. Let's be the ones to empower our young women this month and beyond.